טוב, אני הולך
כן.
להשתין אולי שנייה,
אבל כבר עשית... טוב, תלך.
ואני הולך מהר.
טוב.
טוב, לא משנה, אני לא נורא צריך, מקסימום תוך כדי.
Okay,
בסדר.
everybody. So we're live right now on the Hebrew Canaanite YouTube channel, and I'm here with Elik, uh,
Hi
regular
everyone.
guest of this channel. His channel is Sound of Anarchy, by the
But
way.
I didn't come to your channel for a while, right?
Yeah, you weren't on the channel for a while, and I think people missed you.
Yeah.
Uh, so
But you
it,
started to doing the stuff with Tamar, and I think it's good that you started that.
yeah, it took me a really long time to convince Tamar to go live with me and to talk about stuff with me. Um, okay, so we're connected from Zoom, so it will be a little more difficult to follow the chat, but I'm following the chat from my phone.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't see it, so all the
yeah,
questions
yeah.
go to Alon.
Okay, so people are saying, I hope you guys are okay. Evening from the US of Israel, from the United States of Israel. Good to see you are okay. Okay, so yeah, physically we are okay, we are safe. Um, but we had a lot of experiences in the last few days. It's been a little crazy, and we thought that it would be a good idea to come and share our thoughts, our feelings. We didn't, usually we talk in advance and think about stuff that we want to talk about, but this time we went we're going completely unscripted, right? So, Elik, what do you want to start from?
Mm, I have many things to share. Like I have to, I feel like I have some obvious truth that I just want to say as a
Mm-hmm.
political message before we even start go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
That's like I see now that Israel is killing civilians in Iran just in a very similar fashion to what it does in Gaza.
Yes.
And still, the genocide in Gaza continues is in this new form of slaughtering people waiting for aid. And it's like, it's some kind of development in the genocide, and it keeps happening as we speak. Like,
Yes.
and and I see the war, this thing, like for me, it's very important to say that I am in solidarity with the people of Iran, with the people of Gaza.
Yes.
And even though I don't think it justified to kill and to bomb Israeli civilians, I completely see that that this war was not provoked by Iran. It was completely unprovoked, and therefore I have, even though bombs are falling on me, I understand more. I'm not supporting at all the Iranian regime, but they are much more pushed to the corner to reply in such fashion.
Yeah, I
And
think I think what you're saying connects to a subject that I would love to raise, which is how the propaganda machine is gathering support here for the war in Iran. And in my opinion, I will just say it very briefly. It's just a continuation of the same pattern that we saw in Gaza, of course, that we saw in Lebanon, in Syria, and now in Iran. And I think it's really a good idea to deconstruct this and to show how it's all a part
same
of the
pattern.
same machine. Yeah, same pattern. Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe
And
we will go into it later.
yeah, and I just have to say it because Israel has used the cruelty of the
Brutality,
Iranian,
maybe you wanted to say cruelty and brutality.
yeah, of the Iranian regime toward its own people.
Yes.
And I see all the time, like commentaries from Iranian people who say we don't support the regime, we hate the regime, and what Israel does, it doesn't have anything to do with freeing us from that
Yes.
regime. Like,
Yes.
stop bombing us, please.
Yeah.
You're bombing people who are against the regime. So, like,
Yes.
and it's very clear.
Yes. Yes. And you know, if we look at this pattern, it goes way, way, way back. The United States, someone commented the US of Israel. I think it's Israel of the US. I think it's more Israel of the US than US of Israel, but that's a whole other discussion, but it doesn't matter. The point is that the US has been doing this shit at least since the 60s, right? When they invaded Vietnam, it was supposedly to bring freedom and democracy to Vietnam. And the US has been doing all kinds of imperialist shit with the excuse of bringing peace, democracy, and freedom to places that they're bombing the shit out of. And this is
Yeah.
just again same kind of thing. Now Israel is using the same trick, the same rhetorical trick of propaganda, and you know why? Because it fucking works, and we see around us that it works. We see around us 99% of people believe this bullshit.
Yeah. And it's not that US want uh, Iran to be truly democratic.
Of course
It
not.
doesn't. The thing it want the least is democracy in these people, in those places. Because if the people of these regions would have it say, they wouldn't want U.S. imperialism for sure. They wouldn't
Yes.
want their oppressors from within also. But it's like they try to paint a picture as if like these brutal regimes of the Arab world are something that the West oppose.
Yes.
Like
Yes. 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 People are writing in the comments since the 1950s, US and the UK. And this made me think, hold on, it's way more, it goes way more back because when you think about European colonialism in all kinds of places, this is going back to the 19th century. It was justified by bringing culture to the
yeah,
uncultured masses of
yeah,
Asia and Africa. It's the same kind of thing, and I think you know this property, this energy of being patronizing. I don't think it's discussed enough because being patronizing, it's like considered something not nice, and it hurts the feelings of those you patronize. But I think it's way more than that. I think it's dangerous and genocidal. Like this patronizing attitude is justifying horrible atrocities throughout the world, and I think that this needs to be discussed more. So maybe we will discuss it more in this conversation.
um, yeah. Sorry, there was noise, but yeah, I think like patronizing. You see how it's a tool to suppress different opinions on a personal level, and
Yeah.
it's the same patronizing way of the empire look also at its. It's like we talked about like patterns. So maybe
Yes.
patronizing is part. It's I know for you. It's first like I don't have to engage with you as equal, so I don't
Mhm.
really need to listen to your claims,
Exactly.
right? Like the Zionists never listen to what the Palestinians say. Like they, for example, the liberal Zionists say like, "Oh, whoa, we're so surprised they want the right of return," and the Palestinians are like, "But we never say we gave it up. Like it's the whole thing,
Yeah, we,
right?"
we, we, we were shouting as loud as we can. We want the
Yeah,
right of return. And now you're surprised?
yeah, because I have the right to dictate for you the
Yes, the
terms of the
terms of your liberation.
yeah, and our engagement
Yes.
also.
Yes, but and let's say this very clearly. Uh, what liberal Zionists claim, and actually maybe not even maybe Zionists that are not liberal can also claim this. we are doing this to save the Palestinians from Hamas. We are doing a genocide on the Palestinians to save them from Hamas. This is like the story that they tell, and the Israeli propaganda machine tells this story all around the world. But it's, I think, mainly directed inwards, so that people support it and can continue to think about themselves as good people. We're doing it for the Palestinians. But let's say something very simple: if you don't ask someone if they want you to do what you're doing, then you're not doing it for them. It's very, very simple. And
It's
this
very
this also
simple.
reminds me. This also reminds me of the way that Zionists are patronizing towards other Jewish Israelis. Because how many times did you hear Zionist soldiers or people who were Zionist soldiers or people who are defending Zionist soldiers, justifying their actions, telling you, they're doing it to protect you. They're doing it
Yeah,
to defend you from the terrorists.
yeah,
And my standard answer at this point is, I never ask them to do it. I don't want them to do it. If they would have asked me, I would say, please stop right now.
yeah.
So they're not doing it for me.
Yeah, that's why I'm also call myself part of the first realizations as an anarchist, was that this contract that is we supposedly have with the state, we never actually signed it,
Yes, the
that.
social contract, the
Yeah,
so-called
and
social contract. I never signed anything.
yeah, I never signed anything. So when you betray let's say you cheat your girlfriend in a relationship.
Yeah.
So you can say that in monogamous relationship there is some kind of unsigned contract. Some people talk about it more explicitly, and sometimes
Yeah.
they just, this is the way. So you can understand why it's cheating. But with the state, I never had some kind of agreement. I was forced into it by the point of a gun.
Yes,
And
and from the moment I was born,
yeah,
they never asked me, and then they call me a traitor. What do you mean
yeah,
traitor? I never said that I was one of you. I never said that I was part of this group. I was never asked if I was part of this group. You forced me into being part of this group, and whenever I was asked, I consistently said no.
yeah.
And now you're saying you're a traitor. This is like, this is like, if we're giving examples from romantic relationships from the world of from this world of dating. So it's like a man who keeps badgering a woman, saying, "I want to be with you. I want to be with you." She keeps saying no, and at some point she goes, "Stop bothering me! Stop bothering me!" And he gets all insulted. Oh, why are you against me? What did I do? It's the same kind of energy. They feel like they own you. This is patronizing. They feel like they own you. They feel like you owe them something from your very existence as, I don't know, someone who was born into a particular circumstances in a particular position. They feel like you owe them something. I don't owe you shit.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be Israeli. I never wanted to be Jewish. I always said no. Please let go. Let go. I don't want you.
It's there is some kind, it's funny that for so long I'm saying this to myself, what
Yes.
you've just said, but somehow it's like easy to forget when you're among people from that society that act as if you're part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's always like this: society or closed society has an effect on you, and it's very, so if they call me a traitor, or like, it's not that I believe that, but I still, some part of me is scared of them for what they can do to me. Some
Mm-hmm.
part want to prove to them that no, I'm still part of the collective, and when I was more like liberal Zionist in
Mm-hmm.
when I was like, no, I do love the country, and that's
Yeah.
why I'm criticizing it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But this is a
sometimes I,
very weak position, right? It's a very weak position to be in.
Yeah, and yesterday I sent you, I've sent you, I don't know if you saw, like Twitter
Mhm.
in from it's like it's also a good maybe we should a bit say what the situation here, but um
Okay.
because I saw a video from a demonstration in Haifa that the police said to like the demonstrators, you're not allowed legally to have shirts that say "Stop the War."
Yes,
This
yes,
is
it's
illegal.
amazing.
And but in the video, so people told her like why it's illegal, and they were photoing. But she said we're at war. We're trying to protect my country, our country, and a friend of us, Eyal, you know him.
Yes.
He was the most radical among like the people who were there, and he said
Okay.
like you're. He said like, but I'm fighting your country. I'm fighting. We are not.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, he's just saying it like this to a policeman. And she was like, no, no, you don't understand. We're trying to protect our state. And he was like, it's your state and I'm
Yeah.
fighting it.
Yes, yes,
And he was
yes.
saying it like this, like, don't put this title on me. I don't accept it.
Because once they do it, then all their stupid arguments can be justified. So we need to cut it off, at the root. No, I'm not part
Yeah.
of this. I'm not part of this organization. I'm not part of this so-called society. I'm not. I don't owe you shit, and you don't owe me shit. We owe each other stuff that are the result of basic solidarity between living beings. This is what I
Yeah.
owe you. What is implied by us both being living beings, and this implies basic solidarity. I owe you not to be violent towards you. I owe you respect, basic respect. I owe you to give you as much love as I can. But I don't owe you this mafioso shit. I'm not part of your family. I'm not part of your gang. I'm not part of your country. I'm not part of your society. I'm not part of any of this. This is made
Yeah.
up. It's not real. I was never asked. I never signed the contract, and I'm not part of it. And I think it's very important that as many of us say this as often
Yeah.
as possible.
And I think like what is the healthy way of someone to be in the world, okay? I
Mm.
have the basic morality that you say for all living beings.
Hmm.
And the extra stuff that I had that I built from friendship, from family, for
Hmm.
community that is based
Yes.
on a personal relationship, of course I have connection that makes me maybe owe more to certain people on this
Mhm.
basis of this relationship.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean, first of all, that I'm allowed to kill other people, innocent people, to protect them. It means that I have
Yes.
special. And then what they do with this familial thing that we all have as animals who evolve in groups, in as
Yeah. In
peers of,
tribes. Yeah.
yeah, they take it and they distort it to like nationality and something that you need to say that it turns out to be that on some basic of complete arbitrary category, you need to support to think that life of someone from that group is more important from of life of the other group.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And this is what they demand you to accept. Like, I sorry, life of yeah, and I feel like this is the basic difference between, let's say, um, how people who are Zionist or non-Zionist see it. I don't know, or maybe any supremacist. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Somebody is knocking on the door. That's weird.
That's scary. Okay, so maybe I will answer some comments in the meantime, and let's hope it's not the Shin Bet knocking on Elik's door, because he finally went against the cult too aggressively, and now he will be taken away. No, I'm kidding, but it's not 0%. What are the comments saying? People confuse personal attachment with morality. This is a very important point, and it happened to be raised by Tamar. And coincidentally, it's something that we talk about a lot. Morality is a tool that helps us make the right decisions regardless of our biases. And then when I speak about morality, people they confuse morality with personal attachment. They say, of course, I care more about my own people. Of course, I care more about my own family. Of course, I care more about people than non-human animals. Of course, I care more about them. And this is something, okay, you can care more, you can care less, but this is a matter of personal feelings, personal attachment. And morality should have nothing to do with this. Morality should correct our biases that make us choose, that make us hurt others because of our personal attachments. If your personal attachment is an excuse that you are using to hurt others, to hurt innocent people and innocent living beings, then I'm sorry, but you need to correct your personal attachment. You need to correct the bias that was created by your feelings with morality. This is exactly where morality comes in.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So you were not arrested. That's good.
yeah, they were making list of the building. It's funny, and I get out and I open the door like this.
You want to tell about the experience that you had? Was it yesterday, right? Or today?
That I just went off to the basement. I'm just wearing this at home, like I afraid to go outside like this. But then like there was just alarm to go to the basement to the bomb shelter, and I just didn't think, and I got out and I'm like sitting there. And I'm sitting like this, and
Elik,
in
there might be
front of
some. Elik, you had a problem
I
with your
hear
connection,
you.
maybe?
You hear me?
Yes, now I hear you.
Is it
Maybe you
bad?
should. Hmm. I think you have a
Not good?
problem, or maybe it's my connection that's not good. I don't know. Let's see.
No, I guess if you don't hear me, so it's me.
Oh, I have a problem. 1 second, 1 second. One second. Yeah, I forgot to connect my computer's charger. Maybe this was the problem, and this made me notice. So I ran quickly so that my computer doesn't shut off and kill this live stream. And I made it just in time. Okay, so you were telling
How is
about this experience, yes.
Yeah, so I was just going down the bomb shelter with this shirt, and in front of me, like, there's a guy that keeps coming down with an IOF shirt.
Oh shit.
And we just sit there, both of us, and nobody noticed my shirt or anything or they didn't show anything.
Yes. But I guess it's not on their radar
And
even. They don't expect anyone to support Palestine in such a direct and overt way, right? They don't even expect it.
yeah,
They don't.
no, they don't expect it. It's very, very weird, this spot that we decided to adopt. And it's not weird, but it's weird, to be like a truly anti-Zionist and to live here in such a time. It's a weird position.
Yes, yes,
And
very
many
confusing.
times, like, yeah, and I feel angry at myself that I didn't go. And, I had the thought to go to this conference, and I thought maybe if I would plan it ahead, I would have the tickets 3 days before, and then I would be free from all of that.
Yes, yes. Yes, it's weird
But
how fate works.
yeah, and now I'm here for the bad. I don't know what will happen, but it's a
People
very
are
mixed
saying
bag feeling.
people are saying that this live stream is action packed. Well, we didn't have an alarm yet. We might get an alarm, and if we do, I don't know. There might be an alarm in Haifa and not in Tel Aviv, where you are. It might be
Yeah.
the other way around. We might have alarms in both places, and if we do have an alarm, we will have to run to the safe space. So. The live stream will have to stop, or one of us will continue while the other is in the safe space. So we might get more action later tonight.
Yeah. So
So
it's very, very weird, unique situation to be in. How can you like? I wonder how can you describe it for people who are. I think all the world is going through something. Of course, like here, um, we experience it in our own unique way. But you know, Sima, my friend from DC, told me she's not sleeping as well, and I was like,
mhm, mhm,
there is some collective unconscious something people understand that something is accelerating
mhm, mhm, mhm.
and it's horrific, but maybe it's the signs of the end as well. Like, I don't know.
So let's take this discussion to the ground now. Let's just tell our viewers like experiences, okay? Maybe let's
Okay.
just because I went live like a couple of days ago, and I talked a little bit about my own experiences. And maybe this is an opportunity for you, Elik, to tell a little bit about what you experienced in the last few days since this attack by Israel happened, and the retaliation by Iran, and now we're at war, I guess.
Um, yeah, so it's, I've been experiencing, it's very weird feeling. It feels like we woke up in this night and suddenly I understood there was a strange alarms in the phones, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And there was like a kind of message that I'm not used to that says like we need to be near bomb shelters, and then we understood that Israel attacked Iran.
Yes,
And I remember like a day before I called you and I told you I saw live of like Alon Mizrahi and he said it's going to happen.
yes,
And I heard other people say it's going to happen, but they have been saying it for many days. And I
yes.
think it's kind of they're being they were preparing the grounds for it, but they kind of also numbed us by talking
Mm.
about it.
Mm.
But
I see
it's
what you mean.
true, yeah, because Bibi is fantasizing about it since he like for years and years and years.
I don't think there was a day that I was alive that I didn't hear something about Iran being days, months, weeks, years, a year away from a nuclear weapon. There was an article that I saw, it's been going around on social media, an article from an Israeli newspaper from like 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and they say, yeah, Iran is 1 year away from obtaining nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
And it's like,
there. I think there is something that our audience need to know,
mm,
that Iran is some kind of one of the pillars of Israel propaganda
yes,
since many, 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 many years.
yes,
So people, like I think people from outside say again, like they ask about the Palestinians, how the Zionists, Israeli Zionists accept so many people being killed in Gaza. And now they ask it about Iran, right? Because
mm-hmm,
Israel already killed way more Iranians.
can,
And
yeah,
they ask it, and they need to understand we have been pumped with propaganda about Iran all our life, all our
yes,
fucking life. My dad is worried about Iran having nuclear weapon, and it's like doomsday destruction, and you know
yes,
it connects to the Holocaust, like the typical Israeli fear a Holocaust that will come from the Palestinian takeover, but also from Iranian destroying bomb. Like it's part of the.
Yeah, it's
So
like they're all against us. This is the story of the Zionist cult, which I think is a story that is characteristic of a lot of cults. Is all of the world is against you. You are the only right ones. You are the only righteous ones. Everyone is evil. Everyone is against you. You must be united against the world that is trying to destroy you. This is a story that I know Jehovah's Witnesses have the same kind of story. They think that everyone else is possessed by Satan. Everyone who is not a Jehovah's Witness is possessed by the devil. Okay, so it's kind of like that.
yeah, it's kind of like that, and it's very, I always thought that maybe war with Iran and something that, because what's different that it's the first time Israel goes with the same pattern against country that can also cause a real serious damage to
Yes,
Israel.
yes, yes,
Like the Hezbollah was some kind of a threat, but not close to that.
yes,
And and Hamas, it was never a threat, like a real threat to the existential threat to Israel. Like, and I really believe that if Israel wouldn't like unconsciously or consciously wanting to have a Palestinian attack that will give them excuse for going next phase with a genocide and ethnic cleansing, like they could have prevented by.
But it doesn't even matter because this attack by Hamas on October 7th, the Israelis would love to tell you that this was like the Holocaust, blah 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 blah. It
Yeah.
was very scary, okay? It was brutal. There were a lot of casualties, but there was never a threat on the state of Israel. Like if you look at it rationally for 2 seconds, you will see that it was a blip on the radar in the question of the security of the state of Israel. It wasn't a real threat at any point.
Yeah, and also a proof that Hamas is not a real threat. Like there was through this whole genocide, there was nothing coming towards Israel like that is
Yes,
a true threat in all these 2 years while Israel is genociding the Palestinians. This
yes,
just shows you
yes.
that it's not even a
The
thing
power
for.
imbalance.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
yes,
and people think, wow, and then you think, okay, so Israel was playing this victim in order to have his colonial goals.
yes,
But what's happening with Iran has way more like suicidal also element into that.
yes.
And that's weird to me why they're doing that. And
But let's
but
let's uh, let's tell our viewers that on the news, I think it was the first or second day of this war. On the news, they said that before they went to war, they presented like the projection of what would happen, and they said Israel would have between 800 and 4,000 casualties because of this attack, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. And between 800 and 4,000 casualties is more on average than October 7th,
yeah,
which they describe as like the biggest disaster in the history of
yeah,
Israel. This is worse than that, and they did it. With open eyes, they just went. I don't know open eyes, but on what level? Okay, but they went into this consciously and intentionally, and they're just saying outright between 800 and 4,000 people will be killed here, and people are still going along with it. And I think it's a very important discussion of why people are going along with it. How are they justifying it?
yeah. And that's, I think you see the depth of the insanity of the cult when you see that the damage is also so directly at you. Your
Yes.
prime minister saying, I'm willing to gamble on your life,
Yes.
and you still accept it. And yeah, and I'm thinking, why did I choose to stay with such a genocidal people and cult and to go down with them? I don't understand. And maybe I'm also a fool. Maybe we are fools. And I want to ask it
Maybe
seriously.
we're still under the control of the cult because we're
I
still
want
here.
to, sometimes I ask it, we need to ask ourselves that why are we
Yes.
still here? Why we didn't we leave? Maybe we're stuck. It's mommy daddy issues. Maybe it's not a rational and correct thing to stay with a society that has genocidal, suicidal elements into it.
Yes.
And maybe you want to be far away as you can from them. Maybe that's the sane position.
I think I can only tell my own circumstances, and when I tell my own circumstances, like when I go over the circumstances that led to me being here still in this situation, they feel circumstantial. Okay, because there was something in me that wanted to leave for my own benefit, not because of my political views, but just for my own benefit, because I didn't want to be surrounded by crazy people who I hate. Life here is not easy, it's hard to find a proper job. It's hard to get enough money to live here with a reasonable level of well-being. I wanted to leave many, many times, and to be honest, it was just difficult to leave. And I was about to do it, or at least I told myself that I was about to do it around 2.5 years ago. Then I met Tamar here, and like we're together now, and she's taking care of 4 cats, and those cats were born in Palestine, and it's really hard to uproot a family now. We are a family now. It's really hard to uproot a family, but to be honest, what's been going on in the last few days did wake us up. Okay, we are considering leaving this dangerous situation much, much, much more seriously. But it needs to be said that at this specific point in time, it is literally impossible, or at least very, very, very close to impossible for us to leave. All flights from Israel have been cancelled on Thursday night. Okay, on the night that this started, all flights from Israel were immediately cancelled. We are prisoners here. We are now prisoners of the genocidal, suicidal cult that is using us as human shields to promote the interest of the imperial forces of the United States, Europe, and the rest of the Western world. This is crazy to say, but I believe this. What I said now, this is truth. Okay, this is just what is going on.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable, huh?
Unbelievable, right? But it is what's going on. But if you tell this to an average Zionist, they will say that you are, conspiratorial and crazy. I said something like to that effect, and the guy who used to be my friend, he commented, "Oh, and they're also putting chips in the vaccines, 5G chips in the vaccines, like I'm some sort of conspiracy theorist nut." And this is what he didn't even need. He didn't even feel the need to give arguments for why I was wrong. All he did was say, "You're a conspiratorial nut," and that's it. You're a nut job. That's it. But this just proves how detached from reality they are. They are being used on a daily basis, and they believe that this is for their own good. This is insanity. Insanity.
It's insanity. And I'm kind of wonder if I want to tell a bit the story I wanted to tell you about yesterday.
Sure, why
Um,
not?
Okay, maybe I will not go into too details, but I thought like if I was a writer
Yes.
or a filmmaker and I could capture this because it was so interesting
Yeah.
and it tells you a lot. It's just a personal like just encounter with someone. So we are here, me and Tal, it's my girlfriend, let's say. Okay. Usually I
Is
don't
this the
say it.
first time you said this publicly?
I don't know, because it's kind of, I don't, it's,
Congratulations.
yeah, kind of, that's
That's amazing.
exactly the kind of, it's very weird time. So it's kind of, we're both, but we found ourselves in the same house, like, because of the circumstances.
Mm.
And we went downstairs because we got an alarm that in 10 minutes or something, there's gonna be sirens
Rockets.
and
Yeah.
bombs gonna drop, and so we went already down just to be ready to go to the shelter, and you go and it's all the people, and um, um, and it's very weird. It's like weird situation to stack. You get to
Mhm.
know the neighbors, and there's
It's
like
the
this.
weirdest parody of solidarity, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's like
like,
it's like you should know your neighbors, you should be friends with
yeah,
your neighbors, but the only way that you connect with your neighbors in this weird cult
yeah.
is that you go to the bomb shelter together, and that's how you connect with your fucking neighbors.
But I must say, like, people are nice and they're trying
Yeah.
to be nice. And now they made the list of the building. That's why they knocked on the door. So if I'm not there, so maybe they can call. They're cute people, basically, but they're all
Yes.
obviously like in the Zionist cult.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But we went down, and then suddenly some woman came, and she was also down. And she's not going down to the basement. And she heard us a bit like talking, and then. Um, she said, I have a safe room in my house,
Yes.
but I wanted this time to go to the bomb shelter in the basement."
Yes.
And she seemed like very interesting and lively, a lot of like very like, and she said like her son is went to drink out a beer and he say, "Fuck it, I just want to enjoy life in that situation." And she
Yes.
seemed like a kind of free spirit, and she was
Mm-hmm.
like. And then she said, "Do you want to instead go to my house and I will host you and we can go to my safe room?"
Yes. Yes.
Now later I discovered she's somehow like kind of known
Like a mini celebrity.
celebrity of the past.
Okay.
I mean, Tal recognized her,
Okay.
and 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 I didn't, because I was always not on like
What,
I
like
didn't more.
reality TV shit?
Not exactly. She
Okay,
did
never
some
mind.
commercials. She did some stuff. I don't want it
Okay.
to get to expose her.
Never mind, never mind.
Yeah, I had no idea, but it was kind of like funny, the situation. And then she invited us up, and we had this whole like weird conversation about the situation.
While you're wearing the watermelon t-shirt.
No, I didn't have the
Oh, this
watermelon.
is a different. That would have given
But
it
at
an
some
even
point,
funnier twist.
I and she said like said that she's very into Judaism, and if she's going to pray if something is going to happen. But she didn't seem religious at all. Like she's more
Yes.
like into spiritual Judaism without
Yes.
the and I understood at some point that she's very like Zionist, very right wing, like.
Mm, mm.
And I said like at some point like, yeah, just for you. And she said about, I'm tired of all the she said something about the lefties, and I said something gently like, we have we don't support the actions of the state. I didn't even say.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she just turned on me and she gave this cynical look and she was like, "Oh, because we're killing children in Gaza, huh? Because
Yeah.
we're going right, because we're committing genocide, right?" And she's looking
Yeah.
at me and suddenly
Oh,
it's and she just turned away and then she came back and she was like, "I will try. I want to be nice. I put you in a situation that you maybe feel attacked." Like she always.
yeah, it's the two faces of Zionism. It's the two faces. Like
Yeah,
it's
but
like
when but when she turned around and she did this, like, yeah, think it's so weird thing to do, right? Like if I was talking to a friend uh, who is a Zionist and he would tell me people killed in 7th of October, blah blah blah, I wouldn't go, yeah, right, and it's so bad they killed
yeah,
people, right? Like
yeah.
there was something
Creepy. It just sounds creepy.
creepy. It's
Yeah.
creepy thing to do. It's creepy
Yes.
thing to say. And
Because she this is policing. This is social policing. Let's call it what it is. You are not allowed to say that you object to what the government is doing, even to what the government is doing in Iran, because this exposes you as someone who might be against what the government is doing in Gaza, and this would expose you as some kind of leftist traitor, okay? Which we talked about in the beginning of this, and this needs to be policed. Once you expose yourself as one of those, you need to be punished. And you will be punished by the agents of the cult. This is why we say that this is a cult, because it employs those mechanisms of social punishment. You wanted to have a good atmosphere, right? And all you said was, hey, if you talk about those leftists, then maybe you should be a little bit like you said it very gently, right? She was
yeah,
attacking because she assumed that you were on her side because that assumption usually works for her. You said something very gentle, and then she immediately. But she not. But this is like the struggle in their psyche. Their psyche is like controlled by the cult, but like another part of her brain is not controlled by the cult. Another part of her brain just wants to be nice to you, right? So this makes her bipolar, right? This is
yeah,
those two poles. One pole is the part of her psyche that is a zombie, that is a servant of the cult, and another pole of her brain is the part of her psyche that wants to be nice and kind and loving. And this is what's so confusing about this, right?
it's very confusing. I was wondering if it's this or that there's some kind of manipulation going on of doing
Mm.
to me like good cup, bad cup.
Yes, it's part that it's also that. It's also that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Uh,
the nice part is also like this is always what's confusing, right? When they're nice to you, you're like, okay, but maybe you're nice to me because the cult wants you to be nice to me as a sort of manipulation to get me to feel comfortable. Which is like that's also true because you went into her home, right? And we're not at the situation now that the moment you are branded as some kind of traitor, you can be arrested immediately. But there were situations like this in history, and maybe the situation here will go there.
yeah,
Maybe in a few months, it will be like this that whenever someone is branded as going against the cult, as going against the government, as going against Zionist society, they could tell on them to the police and they could persecute you directly without even making up any excuses. So this is like so whenever you're in this society, you feel like you're being watched, right? You're like, who is now putting me in their mental list of traitors
yeah,
that when the time comes, they will persecute. Who
yeah,
knows? Who knows?
yeah. I'm just, telling myself that in this day and age, it's irrelevant because I'm sure they know my social media account
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
And the moment they decide, that's it. Like I have no escape. right now it feels like they're focused on people who they feel are bigger threats, but
Yes, and mostly on Palestinians, much more on
much
Palestinians.
and much more on Palestinians.
We're talking about 48 Palestinians now. 48
Yeah.
Palestinians are directly persecuted by the Zionist regime every single day. They cannot speak up in the way that we can speak up. We are now using our privileged position in Zionist society to go against the Zionist regime, the oppressive Zionist regime. Because if we happen to be branded Palestinians by the Zionist regime, we could not say such things without being persecuted heavily.
Right. Uh, so I don't know if to go on with a story about like what's happened there, but you know, this situation of like going up and suddenly, and she said a lot of things about her life, and the weird thing that I feel that as much as like I see that this some kind of a psychosis, collective psychosis that you know catches many people in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot erase completely my empathy that I have for people and for their situation. And later we talked, and she said, and she kept talking against the people who are like the Israelis who are daring to say it's a genocide.
She kept talking
And
about this.
it's kind of somehow it felt that we came up here to talk about this, that, and
Mm-hmm.
I in some way appreciated it because I feel like usually my encounter with people is not to talk about it. So I kind of
Yeah, they
felt,
try to avoid it as much as
yeah, and
possible.
I
Yeah.
felt she's having accepting some challenge on having us, and but on the other hand, it
Let me
felt,
ask you, do you think that she felt immediately that you were on that side and that's why she invited you
don't
over? Do you
know.
think she kind of felt it on some subconscious level?
I don't know. At some level, I think maybe it felt like she understood it from even being down and looking at us. I don't know.
And you two
It went,
specifically, she invited you two specifically.
yeah, but at that point, it was only us outside.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And yeah, and
Very bizarre.
it
This
was a
story, like,
bizarre
why did she come there?
situation
Why did she come there if she has a safe space in her apartment?
because she said she wanted to see how it is in the best basement in the shelter, and in
Yeah.
some aspects, like the shelter is safer in
Mm.
the
Yes.
yeah, and we ended up sitting with her many hours. Like I don't know
Really?
how long it was, because in the end there was not alarm happening, and we just
Hmm.
sat on her balcony.
Yes.
And I felt I am kind of talking to someone who is a bit my like nemesis or arch enemy, but there's some level that I can still, even though I can see through her craziness, that I could relate to her in some sense. And
So you
it's this.
talked just to make it clear, you talked about the genocide in Gaza for hours?
It was mainly going around and she's speaking, and every time we say something that exposing our position, she was like attacking in a way that it was a bit scary. So I felt like I have
Yes.
to back off. Like it
Yes.
wasn't. It's not that she said, I want to hear your opinion and I'm willing to
Yeah.
listen. Like not at
Yeah.
all.
But do
And
you
she
think
had
a part
some,
of her wanted to hear those things?
like, first of all, she said from the get-go that Israelis who willing to say that this is a genocide are arrogant, are
Hmm.
looking down upon all of the Israelis,
Yeah.
and that they're like white, privileged, who go to their. And it was funny because she always said it's like people not from here. But then I said like I'm here, and she said like, so why are you not leaving? Why don't you leave us alone if you're, like it was many contradictory
Yes. Yes.
things, but and yeah, and at some point, so it was weird situation, and I was wondering, but she was stressing the point. Why are you not leaving? And I was like, well, yeah, why am I not leaving? Why do I stick to stay with this woman who doesn't want to even that what I say is not even in the realm of acceptable opinion?
Mhm. I must say that when Zionists, and this happened to me thousands of times in my life, tell me, go away, why don't you go away? It makes me want to stay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my, character, in Hebrew we call it davka. Davka is like
Yeah.
to spite, just for spite. I want to stay just for spite.
Yeah, and at some point I told her, "Why do I need to go away? I'm born here
Yeah,
just as you. I have my opinion of how this place should be. Why don't like I didn't tell her why don't you go away, but I was
yeah.
like, um, and she was like, because you cannot say it's a genocide. You can, and she kept going back to the claim that it's like not that we are some kind of elite, and people like me, it's easy to say because I look very white and very Ashkenazi, and it's true. I am part of the a very, let's say, privileged group. And when shit go down, I will leave to Europe, and I kind of want to be liked by the people of the world.
Oh, God
And
forbid that you want to
and
be
I
liked
neglect
by the people of the world.
and I neglect my commitment. Again, we go back to what we started the conversation with.
Yes.
I neglect this commitment to the people of this country who just want to um, to protect and whatever. Yeah. So when you talk about it, it sounds ridiculous. But when I was there and she was speaking in a from very emotional place, I felt like I have to listen to her a bit. And I brought,
Yes.
and I felt like I put myself in a situation where I cannot resist too much. Like I'm in her house.
Mhm.
And I try to tell myself, go to that as some kind of explorer, try to detail the conversation in your head, try to understand why the universe, the hippie side of me, put you in this
Yes.
situation that you go
Yeah.
out and then she invites you up.
Yeah.
And she's talking about people like me with the most hatred. And if she knew what I'm
Oh, she
doing,
she cannot imagine your
she
position.
cannot.
Like if you told her, look, I'm the most leftist person in this society. Now write down my opinions. She would not write down. Well, she would give her like 5 hours to write to think like what your opinions are. She would not write even 1% of your opinions. She
But
cannot
at
imagine
some
your opinion.
point, at some point in the conversation,
Mm.
I somehow told her, I have a friend in Gaza and we share the
Mm.
vision of one democratic state for all, like I said it.
Oh, you said it. Okay, okay. And what did she say?
And it wasn't in a confrontational way. I found a way to slip it in.
Yes.
And and she was like, I also want it, but it sounds such a childish utopia.
They love to just they have their box of answers and they will pull
And she
out an
kept
answer from the
speaking
box.
about how she worked with women and then she worked with a Palestinian woman and she saw how much because she's a trauma therapist
Okay.
now. Like she used to be like an actor and stuff, but now she's like
Okay.
and she uses Judaism in a spiritual way to with
Okay.
combined with trauma therapy.
Okay.
Um, it and many things. I'm sure that if I would put this thing and just talk to her about mysticism and spirituality, she talked about. I could relate. I could connect.
Mhm.
That's the thing that people who and for me it's weird because for many years when I was still within the Zionist cult, like I could say, okay, so she's saying horrible thing, but
Yeah.
I'm friend with her on other basis, and it
Yes.
became way more difficult to do it. I kind of look at this and I think what's going on there.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, yes. It's like okay, but you're responsible for you're like supporting murder of people I consider friends or just people I care about, even if I
Yeah.
don't know them personally, I care about them no less than
Yeah.
I care about you, and you're
Yeah.
supporting their actual murder. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane.
yes, yes, but to be honest, I'm used to this because
Yeah.
ever since I went vegan, I had to be in all kinds of carnism is way more common than Zionism all around the planet in within humanity, and like it's very unique for me when I meet a random person and they turn out to be a vegan and they turn out not to actively murder the animals that I feel that I am in solidarity with. Okay, so it's like something that I'm used to. Like I meet people and if I want to be in any sort of interaction with the vast majority of people that I meet, I have to ignore the fact that, like, I remember a conversation that I had with someone. It doesn't matter the details of the conversation, but at some point I was like, "You have corpses in your stomach right now." And he was like, "Yeah, I have corpses in my stomach right now." He ate the corpses of
Yeah.
cows and chickens that very day, like an hour or two before. Okay, like,
Yeah.
and I had to ignore the fact that in his stomach, as we were speaking, I was looking into his eyes, but like half a meter below his eyes, in his stomach, were the remains of my murdered friends. Like, how
Yeah.
did I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do. How to do it. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. That's a question that maybe there is no answer what to do,
Yeah.
how to do.
No, there's
Maybe
no
there
answer
is,
to this.
maybe, um, like there are answers, try to do what you can, speak about it, but there's no just like one course of action that you can say this is a right way to behave in a society that murder is so um, institutionalized and
Yeah, this
organized.
entire society is built on murder, is built on Holocaust, is built on exploitation and enslavement and supremacy and hierarchies and violence. This entire society is built on violence. The most fundamental thing about human society is violence, enslavement, exploitation, and Holocaust. This is the most people talk about humanity. They use the word humanity. I want to do a lot of content about that, deconstructing this word humanity. They speak about humanity as if it's a good thing. The only thing that is shared to or the most common thing about humans is that they support holocausts and participate in Holocaust. This is the most characteristic things about humans is that they are murderers, mass murderers. This is what I learned about humans in my 38 years on this planet Earth. That the most common thing about humans is that they are mass murderers who are unashamed of it and tell you outright that they will continue to do it, and that if you have a problem with that, then you are the problem. This is my most common experience with humans in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So I don't know about humanity, about this humanity thing. I think humanity should be a dirty word. It should be a dirty word at this point.
But you cannot escape from you being also a human. It's a thing.
Yes, but I can also notice this. Okay, so this returns to what we talked about before. Why this division between humans and other living beings was created? It's also an artificial, it's an artificial separation, like the artificial separation between Jews and Muslims and Christians, like the artificial separation between men and women, like the artificial separation between Israelis and Italians and Brazilians, like the artificial separation between poor and rich, like any artificial separation,
Yeah.
it's made up. I
But there is
never
a
signed.
tendency.
1 second. I never signed a contract that I was part of this group called humanity. I never swore allegiance to the group called humanity, and If you ask me whether I am loyal to this group, my answer is no. My answer is no. I'm not loyal to humanity. I'm not for humanity. I'm for everyone. I'm for the entire planet Earth and for all living beings on the planet Earth. This is the group that I belong to, if any.
No, I agree. I feel like, but that there is something that, yeah, but it's like you say a familiar thing. The fact that you're more like the fact that
Yes.
we as humans hang around with other humans, and we understand better each other. Like I feel like, we have language that sometimes help us understand each other better, but it doesn't mean that other humans are more important. It's just that you have a tendency to have connection with them.
Yes.
And for example, like Tamar feels that the cats are her children, and
I
yeah,
started saying this when people tell me that tell me some human supremacist thing. I tell them, what? I hate humans. I would much rather hang out with a sheep or a cat or a dog over a human. I never feel social anxiety near.
but you feel honest with
Yeah.
yourself when you say it.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Definitely. With humans, most humans, I hate being around. Most cats, I like being around. Most sheep,
Yeah,
the
but you
vast
would not.
majority of sheep, you know what? A sheep never cursed me. A sheep never condescending. No sheep were ever condescending towards me. They never called me a traitor. They never said that I was this or this or this. I just go and I sit next to them and they're chill. That's
Yeah, but
fine.
I think if you would live in a world that it's just you and sheeps
Mm.
and cats,
Mm.
a lot of your psychological and emotional needs wouldn't be fulfilled. You will be have difficulty, and I think there is
That's a
something
good
to this.
question, though. That's a good question.
That's a good question, but I
Maybe a
do
lot of my
feel,
neurosis would be healed as well.
yeah, or maybe you would just adjust like the way you were adjusted. Like, let's say if you were a kid that grew up, like there is stories of like, human that grew with wolves and they kind of
Yeah.
became part of the pack. So it's an
And
interesting question.
also, humans as a collective can hear me saying this and go, maybe we should do a little bit better. Maybe that's
Yeah,
also a conclusion that you can draw from this.
right. I think with humans, you have the ability to express. And even though a lot of them don't want to hear you, there's still some that do. And I think that's worth the effort and time, for example.
Well, I do it. I do it. I try to talk to people with very limited success. I need to add, with very, very limited success.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back
And
to our experiences. The thing that we wanted to talk about to begin with. You want to tell more about how you've been feeling, just your feelings around what's been going on.
yeah, um, I don't know. It's weird feeling of like helplessness, of not knowing what's going on. It feels like the regime is cracking down more. Like I went to a demonstration 2 days ago.
Yeah, tell us about this demonstration. I think it's a good.
Yeah, and they were kind of the police came with a lot of people,
How
and
many people
immediately,
were in the demonstration?
I don't know, it was like 30 people.
Okay, so it wasn't super small.
It wasn't super, I don't know, but like they say immediately, this is illegal crowding,
Yes, yes.
and they went right
But we
away
need to
to,
explain. We need to explain to our viewers what this means, right? So whenever there is an emergency here, so they can say the regime can say you cannot gather too many people cannot gather in the same place. This is illegal. Why? Because it's dangerous. They would tell you in a patronizing way, by the way, that it's dangerous. Okay, but we feel that it's not, at least not just because it's dangerous, but also to suppress, opposition, right?
hmm.
So this is what they told you, that this was an illegal gathering.
yeah, it was a legal gathering, and so we tried to hold the signs, very, mild signs, stop the war, like, but to hold them and take some space so they won't have but they just, many policemen just went after us, ripped the signs. They arrested 3 people. They were very
Yes,
violent and
yes.
disgusting. With some of them looked like confused and feeling of like, we don't understand why we have to do this. And
The policeman.
yeah, some portion, and some looked
Really?
like
Okay.
they hate us, and yeah, and then they arrested people and they say it was illegal. But then they went away, and it's funny because we left some of us like still there, and we were like some girl with a drum, and like people were there, and then we said like, what are we gonna do? Maybe we continue, and then I just started shouting like, stop the genocide, and it became like funny anarchist demonstration that somebody shouts something, and then everyone. And I felt how much like I like it more this way than
This is my favorite vibe, by the way. It's the most
yeah,
radical, and I think it's also the most effective. I think
yeah,
it's no coincidence that it feels so good to do it.
yeah,
That it feels much more authentic and energetic and full of life than the protests by
yeah,
standing together and all that weak
yeah.
bullshit.
I think like the problem, I have problem with the left wingers and people who are activists that sometimes it feel like they're not connected to their guts enough. Like
Mm,
they
mm.
sit down, they write the sign, they shout, and then they want to be like the act of resistance, but it doesn't feel like spontaneous and anarchist. It's still a bit hierarchical. And sometimes I decided few times to humble myself, even though I don't like it so much. For example, when I joined people who hold the picture of dead Palestinian kids in front of pilots,
Yes,
and I felt it was a powerful action.
yes,
Uh,
yes,
and they were very like organized. They were like the woman who telling us stand with the sun, don't engage. And there was also, because it was dangerous and it's army there was like
hmm,
the activist who was also a lawyer, and she says like, everything, something happens, let her and another woman deal with it. You just
yes.
stand and try to put it in front of their eyes, and that's it.
Okay, but this
And
can
it
be
was very,
excused.
yeah, and I was like, okay, just participate. And they were like, don't shout, don't
Yes.
give them any excuses. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
exactly.
So this is something that I can understand, even though something inside me goes, no, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure if this is
Yeah,
the way. But never mind this. But sometimes it just feels like the protest is a performative thing, and
yeah,
when it's like that, it almost feels like it. I don't know if almost is, if I need to add the word, I will drop the word almost. It feels like it's part of the system. It feels like it's just doing the thing that the system does. So there are the leftists, and they go and they shout their slogans, and then the cops come and they do a little dance between them. And the dance is that the cops go, boo, 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 and then the protesters go, ba, 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 ba. And then the cops, they arrest the protesters, or they scare them, and blah 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 blah. And then after an hour to an hour and a half, we go, okay, we did enough, and now we're going home, and we did our part, and now blah blah blah. And it all
yeah.
feels like this
It's orchestrated.
coordinated, choreographed
Yeah.
dance that was decided in advance and that always happens, and it's just like part of it. It's just like the part of the system is this. This is the way that the system can neutralize truly radical resistance, truly anarchist resistance. They can neutralize
But
it
what
because
is
you can
truly
say,
radical?
I
What is
don't
truly
know. I don't know, but you can. But I'm saying about this. I don't know about the other thing. I'm saying about this that it has the effect of pacifying people who, in other circumstances, could be truly radical, because it tells them you did your part, you went, and you shouted the slogans, and you were even arrested, and then you can say, I was arrested. I had a lot of discussions with people who weren't anti-Zionist, and they called themselves like radical leftists and stuff like that. And I asked, what makes you a radical leftist? You're not against
I
the
was
system.
arrested.
Yeah, yeah, and they say, oh, they arrested me. How dare you say that I'm not a radical leftist? But they arrested me, and I'm like, okay, so this is the way that it works. They arrested you, and now you have you have a stamp, a stamp of approval. You're a radical leftist, and you don't have to be anti-Zionist, and you don't have to be against the non-human animal Holocaust, and you don't have to be against any oppressive systems. Really, you were arrested, so you're okay. You have the stamp of approval by the state. The state gave you the stamp of approval that you are a radical leftist. Way to fucking go.
Yeah, it's funny. It is funny. Yeah, and I also feel there is something a bit non-creative about it. Like, the police said you cannot wear shirts that say "Stop the War," and then one guy say we organized a demonstration with 100 people saying "Stop the War," and I'm like, okay, but that's what you want to do, play this game with
Yeah,
them.
am
Why
I
not
am I
to do?
allowed or am I not allowed? Who are
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
I don't agree to your authority on me to begin with. To begin
yeah,
with, your authority over me that you feel is a complete lie, and I do not accept it. I don't give a shit about you. The only reason that I'm not saying that you are a Nazi murderer is that you would arrest me if I said this. You are now enacting power over me. I can
and
accept
that's it.
you have this power, but that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to play this game where I agree that you should have power, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't. No, no, no. You shouldn't.
yeah, and that's what mean being liberated uh, with your mind, and when you're still in a situation of power differential that you cannot win, but it starts there. If you don't
Yes.
get to that position, it will also not ever materials. Your freedom will not be manifested ever.
Yes. Yes. And you
And
asked me what is a truly radical protest, and now I think that I have the answer to you. It's what you did. So please tell the audience what you did in that protest.
so first, I must say I didn't have guts to confront the officers. Like some
Okay.
people came to the policemen and why do you do this to me? And I was like standing there, but when they took the sign by force from my hand, my instinct was I'm not a physical fight person, so
Yes. Yes.
and I felt kind of humiliated, and that's why like when it was over, suddenly like people were like, what should I do? And then I just started shouting, and I started shouting like they told me like we don't have the slogans and stuff, so I was like לא נמית ולא נמות בשירות הציונות, כאילו.
Yes. We will not kill and will not die in the service of Zionism. It rhymes in
Yeah.
Hebrew.
Yeah, and I was shouting this, and then came guy from this fascist movement Im Tirzu.
Yeah, okay,
And
okay, okay. We need to explain to our audience. Im Tirzu is an organization that has been around for, I think, over 20 years now, right? And they do all kinds of fascist persecution. They started off with persecuting professors in universities that they deemed to be too leftist and traitors to the state of Israel, and ever since they did all kinds of things like that.
yeah, and he was like, and he's doing live for his audience. I don't know
Yeah,
what platform he has.
yeah.
And he's looking, it was like, yeah, say this thing about Zionism, and he's like photoing me, and I was like, this to him, I was like, yeah, fuck you, I'm an anti-Zionist, you can film it, I don't even
Yes,
care. And
yes.
after I was like, shit, now they're gonna be after me, these fascists. But it's this attitude of like, I'm not bending down, I'm not
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
like.
mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm.
told him I'm not shamed that I want equality. That's what I want. And
So I want to say something about this story because I want to emphasize some point. You said that when the policeman came and forcefully, physically took the sign away from you, you didn't resist forcefully. Other people did, and you didn't. I don't think that's a measure of how radical you are and how effective your resistance is, because I think we need to separate between being radical and being stupid. Okay, a lot of people try to tell us when I present my radical opinions and positions, they tell me that I'm naive or childish or stupid, like that woman told you in that conversation. And I think that, yes, some people who are radical are kind of childish and stupid about it, because most people are childish and stupid, if we're being honest with each other. So
Yeah.
some radicals will also be childish and stupid. Uh, but to me, being smart. Oh, that's 1 second, 1 second. So you're seeing in real time. Did you hear this? So this is I'm getting like see
Oh,
the
wow.
flashlight, and I'm getting this is in the next few minutes there is supposed to be an alarm in your area. Did you get it too, Elik?
I didn't get it.
Okay.
I'm a bit. I think anyway I will have to wrap it up soon because I'm kind of capturing the main space.
Okay. So,
Like I
Elik,
feel we have still a lot to say, but it's
let's so
already
let's do the following. Let's go live again tomorrow. Okay?
okay.
Let's make plans to go live again tomorrow. Guys, we're really sorry. This is what it's like living in a war zone.
Yeah,
This is 0.001% of what Gazans have been experiencing for over 600 days. We're going
yeah.
to wrap it up because I'm going to run to the safe space. Bye, Elik. Thank you, Elik. We'll see you
Bye,
tomorrow.
guys.
We'll be here tomorrow afternoon with the part 2 of this live. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.